In the scorching summer of 1993, Phoenix, Arizona, was a city caught between its Wild West past and its rapidly expanding future. But beneath the desert sun and sprawling suburbs, a darkness was about to unfold that would haunt the community for nearly 3 decades. A promising young woman would vanish without a trace, and the person responsible would hide in plain sight, teaching children and earning the trust of families while carrying an unthinkable secret. The Valley of the Sun in 1993 was experiencing unprecedented growth. New housing developments stretched across the Sonoran Desert like geometric patterns etched into the ancient landscape. Strip malls and chain restaurants sprouted along major thoroughfares, while established neighborhoods maintained their distinctive southwestern charm with adobe-style homes and xeriscaped yards dotted with saguaro cacti and palo verde trees. Phoenix had shed much of its small-town identity by the early 90s, transforming into the nation's 6th largest city. The population surge brought opportunity and optimism, but also the anonymity that allows predators to blend seamlessly into suburban communities. Local news stations reported the usual urban concerns: property crime, drug trafficking along interstate corridors, and the occasional violent incident that reminded residents that no city was immune to darkness. Against this backdrop of rapid change and desert heat, 26-year-old Brenda Holbrook represented everything positive about Phoenix's future. A recent graduate from Arizona State University with a degree in elementary education, Brenda had moved to the valley from a small town in northern Arizona. Drawn by the promise of career opportunities and the vibrant cultural scene emerging in the downtown corridor, Brenda possessed the qualities that made her an exceptional educator and beloved community member. Colleagues at Desert Vista Elementary School described her as patient, creative, and genuinely invested in her students' success. She volunteered for after-school tutoring programs and spent her own money on classroom supplies, determined to give every child the best possible start in life. Her 3rd grade classroom was decorated with colorful educational posters and student artwork, creating an environment where learning felt like an adventure. Outside the classroom, Brenda was known for her infectious laugh and generous spirit. She participated in local hiking groups, exploring the mountain preserves that surrounded the metropolitan area. Friends remember her weekend trips to Sedona and Flagstaff, where she would photograph red rock formations and pine forests, always planning to incorporate nature themes into her lesson plans. Her small apartment near Central Avenue was filled with books, teaching materials, and the pottery she created as a hobby at a local arts center. The summer of 1993 found Brenda preparing for her 2nd year of teaching, attending professional development workshops and organizing her classroom for the upcoming school year. She had recently started dating someone she met through mutual friends, and those close to her noted her excitement about the future. Her parents, who lived 3 hours north in Prescott, spoke with her regularly and were planning a visit for Labor Day weekend. On August 28, 1993, Brenda followed her usual Sunday routine. According to witness statements collected by Phoenix police, she attended morning services at a Methodist church near her home, then stopped at a local grocery store to purchase supplies for the week ahead. Security cameras captured her leaving the store at approximately 2:15 in the afternoon, carrying 2 bags and walking toward her silver Honda Civic in the parking lot. That grainy surveillance footage would become the last confirmed sighting of Brenda Holbrook alive. Her car was discovered 3 days later in the parking lot of a shopping center 8 miles from her apartment. Keys still in the ignition, purse and groceries missing. There were no signs of struggle in the vehicle, no obvious evidence of foul play, and no witnesses to whatever had transpired in those crucial moments between the grocery store and the abandoned car. The initial investigation revealed a young woman who had simply vanished from her ordinary life, leaving behind a classroom ready for eager students, lesson plans carefully organized for the semester ahead, and a family desperate for answers that would not come for 28 long years. The discovery of Brenda Holbrook's abandoned vehicle on August 31st, 1993, transformed what initially appeared to be a missing person case into something far more sinister. According to Phoenix Police Department records, a security guard at the Thunderbird shopping plaza noticed the silver Honda Civic during his routine patrol at approximately 6:30 in the morning. The car had been parked in the same spot for what appeared to be several days, accumulating dust and drawing attention in the busy commercial area. When officers arrived at the scene, they found Brenda's vehicle unlocked with the keys still dangling from the ignition. The positioning suggested someone had parked hastily, slightly crooked within the designated space and farther from the store entrances than most shoppers would choose. Inside the car, investigators discovered Brenda's teaching materials scattered across the back seat, including a box of new crayons and construction paper she had purchased for her upcoming classroom activities. The absence of Brenda's purse and the groceries she had been seen carrying raised immediate red flags for responding officers. Detective Maria Gonzalez, the lead investigator assigned to the case, noted in her initial report that the vehicle showed no signs of mechanical problems. The gas tank was nearly full, and the engine started immediately when tested. This ruled out the possibility that Brenda had experienced car trouble and sought help elsewhere. Forensic technicians processed the Honda Civic methodically, dusting for fingerprints and collecting potential evidence. According to police documentation, they found multiple sets of prints inside the vehicle, which was expected given that Brenda regularly gave rides to colleagues and friends. However, investigators also discovered partial prints on the exterior door handle that did not match Brenda or any of her known associates. The shopping center's security cameras provided limited assistance to investigators. While the footage confirmed that the vehicle had been in the parking lot since at least Sunday evening, the camera angles did not capture the specific area where the car was found. Store managers provided surveillance tapes from businesses facing the parking lot, but the distance and image quality made it impossible to identify individuals or license plates clearly. Witness interviews conducted in the days following the discovery yielded conflicting information. Several shoppers remembered seeing the silver Honda in the parking lot over the weekend, but none could provide specific details about when it had arrived or whether they had observed anyone near the vehicle. A teenage employee from a nearby restaurant claimed to have seen a woman matching Brenda's description in the parking lot on Sunday evening, but could not recall any other details about the encounter. The investigation expanded to include Brenda's apartment complex, where neighbors reported nothing unusual over the weekend. Her mail had accumulated in the box, and newspapers remained on her doorstep, confirming that she had not returned home after her grocery shopping trip. Building management provided access to her unit, where investigators found no signs of disturbance. Brenda's bed appeared to have been made that morning, and her weekend clothes were neatly folded in the laundry basket. Phone records obtained through court orders revealed that Brenda had made no calls after Saturday evening, when she spoke briefly with her mother about plans for the upcoming school year. Her answering machine contained several messages from concerned friends and colleagues who had tried to reach her when she failed to appear for a Sunday evening planning meeting at the school. The timeline established by investigators painted a troubling picture. Brenda had been seen leaving the grocery store at 2:15 on Sunday afternoon, but her car was not discovered until Tuesday morning. This left a window of approximately 66 hours during which something had happened to the young teacher. The location where her vehicle was found, 8 miles from both her apartment and the grocery store, suggested that either Brenda had driven there herself under duress or someone else had moved the car after an incident occurred elsewhere. Desert Vista Elementary School became a focal point of community concern as news of Brenda's disappearance spread. Principal Robert Hayes issued a statement expressing the school's commitment to cooperating fully with the investigation while protecting the privacy of students and staff. Parents began asking questions about safety protocols, and several requested transfers to other schools within the district. The Phoenix Police Department classified the case as a suspected abduction, acknowledging that the circumstances strongly suggested foul play rather than a voluntary disappearance. The initial investigation into Brenda Holbrook's disappearance followed standard protocols, but according to case files reviewed decades later, several critical missteps would ultimately hamper the search for answers. Detective Maria Gonzalez and her team began with the assumption that someone known to Brenda was responsible, a statistically sound approach that unfortunately led them down unproductive paths, while potentially crucial evidence grew cold. The first major focus centered on Brenda's personal relationships. Investigators spent considerable time examining her recent romantic connection. A 28-year-old insurance adjuster named Kevin Walsh, whom she had been dating for approximately 6 weeks. Walsh voluntarily submitted to multiple interviews and provided alibis that checked out completely. Phone records confirmed he had been in Tucson visiting his sister's family the entire weekend of Brenda's disappearance. Despite his cooperation and solid alibi, investigators continued to scrutinize Walsh for weeks, valuable time that might have been better spent pursuing other leads. The second line of inquiry involved Brenda's colleagues at Desert Vista Elementary School. Detectives interviewed every staff member, from administrators to custodial workers, searching for any indication of workplace conflicts or inappropriate behavior. Several teachers mentioned that Brenda had seemed slightly stressed about the upcoming school year, but attributed this to normal pre-semester anxiety rather than any specific threat or concern. One interview that would later prove significant involved the school's substitute teacher coordinator, 41-year-old Gregory Hoffman. According to police reports, Hoffman had worked in the district for 8 years and was well regarded by administrators. He had occasionally filled in for teachers at Desert Vista and had interacted with Brenda during faculty meetings. Hoffman appeared cooperative during his initial interview, providing what seemed like helpful background information about school operations and staff dynamics. However, investigators failed to conduct a thorough background check on Hoffman during the initial phase of the investigation. This oversight would prove costly, as records that might have raised red flags were not discovered until years later. At the time, Hoffman's clean employment record and positive references from school administrators placed him in the category of routine witnesses rather than potential suspects. The physical search for evidence expanded across Phoenix's sprawling metropolitan area. Search and rescue teams combed through desert areas surrounding the city, focusing on locations accessible by vehicle where someone might dispose of evidence. The Sonoran Desert's vast expanse and numerous hiking trails presented logistical challenges that stretched department resources thin. Volunteers from the community joined organized searches, but the extreme August heat limited the hours teams could safely operate. A significant investigative error occurred when evidence from Brenda's vehicle was processed. The partial fingerprints found on the exterior door handle were initially deemed insufficient for comparison purposes. The prints were photographed and filed, but no systematic attempt was made to run them through available databases. This decision, based on the poor quality of the prints, meant that potentially crucial evidence remained unanalyzed for years. Investigators also struggled with the timeline gap between Brenda's last confirmed sighting and the discovery of her car. The 66-hour window provided numerous possibilities for what might have occurred, but also created challenges in establishing a clear sequence of events. Attempts to trace Brenda's movements through credit card usage proved fruitless, as she typically used cash for small purchases and had not made any transactions after Saturday evening. The media attention surrounding the case created both opportunities and obstacles for investigators. Local television stations and newspapers provided extensive coverage that generated numerous tips from the public. However, the volume of calls overwhelmed the department's ability to follow up promptly on every lead. Some tips that might have provided valuable information were not investigated thoroughly due to staffing limitations and the sheer number of responses. One particularly frustrating aspect of the early investigation involved witness reliability. Several individuals came forward claiming to have seen Brenda or her vehicle in various locations around Phoenix, but these sightings often contradicted each other or could not be verified. The lack of clear, corroborated witness testimony made it difficult for investigators to establish a definitive timeline or location where the crime might have occurred. As September progressed into October, the investigation began to lose momentum. The initial surge of tips and leads had been exhausted, physical searches had yielded no significant evidence, and investigators found themselves with more questions than answers. By the winter of 1994, the Brenda Holbrook investigation had effectively stalled. Detective Maria Gonzalez continued to work the case sporadically, but new homicides and active investigations demanded priority attention from the Phoenix Police Department's limited resources. The file was officially transferred to the Cold Case Unit in March 1995, joining hundreds of other unsolved disappearances and murders that haunted Arizona law enforcement. The transition to cold case status marked a painful milestone for Brenda's family. Her parents, Robert and Carol Holbrook, had maintained hope throughout the first year that their daughter might still be found alive. They organized search parties, distributed flyers throughout the Phoenix metropolitan area, and appeared on local television programs pleading for information. The official acknowledgement that active investigation had ceased represented a devastating blow to their efforts to find answers. Desert Vista Elementary School struggled to move forward in the aftermath of Brenda's disappearance. The district implemented new safety protocols, including mandatory buddy systems for teachers working late hours and improved lighting in parking areas. Brenda's third-grade classroom remained empty for the remainder of the 1993-1994 school year, serving as an unspoken memorial to the beloved educator. When classes resumed in August 1994, the room was finally reassigned. But colleagues reported that the hallway felt different, marked by an absence that could not be filled. The broader Phoenix community gradually absorbed the tragedy into its collective memory. Brenda's case became a cautionary tale shared among parents and educators, a reminder that violence could strike even the most innocent and prepared individuals. Local women's groups organized self-defense classes, and neighborhood watch programs experienced increased participation as residents sought ways to protect themselves and their families. Gregory Hoffman continued his work as a substitute teacher throughout the district during this period. According to employment records, he maintained his reputation as a reliable and competent educator, filling in at various elementary schools when regular teachers were absent. His interactions with administrators remained professional, and no complaints were filed regarding his conduct with students or staff. The initial interview he had provided to investigators was filed away with dozens of others, seemingly insignificant in the larger context of the stalled investigation. Technological advances in the late 1990s offered new hope for cold case resolution. The development of more sophisticated DNA analysis techniques and the expansion of fingerprint databases prompted periodic reviews of unsolved cases. In 1998, Detective James Morrison of the Cold Case Unit requested that evidence from Brenda's vehicle be re-examined using improved forensic methods. However, Budget constraints and staffing limitations meant that only the most promising cases received immediate attention. The Holbrook family refused to let their daughter's case fade into obscurity. Robert Holbrook, a retired mechanic, dedicated his retirement years to maintaining public awareness of Brenda's disappearance. He created a simple website in 2001, one of the first family-maintained sites dedicated to a Phoenix cold case. The site featured photographs of Brenda, details about the circumstances of her disappearance, and contact information for anyone with relevant information. Annual memorial services held at the Methodist church Brenda had attended kept her memory alive within the community. These gatherings evolved from grief-focused remembrances to advocacy events promoting cold case awareness and victim rights. Local media outlets typically covered these anniversaries, ensuring that Brenda's story remained in public consciousness even as newer tragedies competed for attention. The case file grew thicker over the years as tips continued to trickle in. Psychics offered their services. Amateur investigators proposed theories, and occasional false confessions required follow-up investigations. Each lead demanded time and resources, but none provided the breakthrough that investigators desperately sought. The partial fingerprints from Brenda's car remained unmatched, and no physical evidence had emerged despite periodic searches of desert areas, where new construction projects disturbed previously undeveloped land. By 2010, 17 years after Brenda's disappearance, the case had become a symbol of the challenges facing cold case investigations. Limited resources, aging evidence, and the passage of time created seemingly insurmountable obstacles to resolution. However, advances in genetic genealogy and expanded DNA databases were beginning to revolutionize cold case work across the country, offering new possibilities for cases that had long seemed hopeless. The breakthrough in Brenda Holbrook's case came unexpectedly in March 2021, nearly 28 years after her disappearance. Detective Sarah Chen of the Phoenix Police Cold Case Unit had been systematically reviewing unsolved cases from the 1990s, prioritizing those with preserved physical evidence that could benefit from advanced forensic techniques. The partial fingerprints recovered from Brenda's vehicle, once considered too degraded for meaningful analysis, were selected for processing through the FBI's next-generation identification system. The enhanced database, which had expanded significantly since the original investigation, contained millions of additional prints collected from arrests, employment screenings, and voluntary submissions across multiple decades. According to police reports, the improved imaging technology and pattern recognition software were able to extract usable data points from the previously unusable partial prints found on Brenda's car door handle. On March 22, 2021, the system generated a potential match. The fingerprints allegedly corresponded to Gregory Hoffman, the former substitute teacher who'd been interviewed as a routine witness during the original investigation. Detective Chen immediately pulled Hoffman's file and discovered the significant oversight that had occurred nearly 3 decades earlier. A comprehensive background check, which should have been standard procedure for anyone working in schools, had never been completed during the initial investigation. When investigators finally conducted the thorough background review that should have happened in 1993, disturbing patterns emerged. According to court records obtained by authorities, Hoffman had been arrested in 1989 in Tucson for stalking a female college student, though charges were ultimately dropped when the victim declined to testify. Employment records revealed that he had been quietly dismissed from a teaching position in Flagstaff in 1991 following complaints from female staff members about inappropriate behavior, though no formal charges were filed. The renewed investigation revealed that Hoffman had maintained a carefully constructed facade of respectability while allegedly harboring dangerous tendencies. School district records showed that he had specifically requested substitute assignments at schools with younger female teachers, and several educators reported in hindsight that his interactions had made them uncomfortable, though none had filed formal complaints at the time. Detective Chen's team began surveillance of Hoffman, who was now 69 years old and living in a modest apartment complex in Tempe. According to police reports, he had continued working in education until his retirement in 2018, moving between different school districts every few years. This pattern of frequent job changes, investigators noted, was consistent with someone trying to stay ahead of potential scrutiny or complaints. The investigation expanded to include genetic genealogy techniques that had revolutionized cold case work across the country. DNA evidence recovered from Brenda's vehicle, which had been too limited for analysis in 1993, was processed using advanced extraction methods that could work with degraded samples. According to forensic reports, the genetic material allegedly matched samples voluntarily provided by Hoffman during a routine traffic stop in 2019, when he had been required to submit DNA as part of Arizona's expanded database collection efforts. Authorities coordinated with multiple agencies to build a comprehensive case against Hoffman. The Maricopa County Attorney's Office worked closely with Phoenix Police to ensure that all evidence was properly documented and that the investigation followed current legal standards. Given the passage of time and the challenges inherent in prosecuting a decades-old case, prosecutors wanted to ensure that every aspect of the investigation would withstand scrutiny in court. On April 8, 2021, Phoenix police executed a search warrant at Hoffman's residence. According to police reports, investigators discovered a collection of newspaper clippings about Brenda's disappearance, along with materials related to other missing women cases from the 1990s. Among his possessions, authorities allegedly found a small jewelry box containing items that Brenda's family later identified as belonging to their daughter, including a distinctive silver bracelet she'd been wearing on the day she disappeared. The arrest of Gregory Hoffman on charges related to Brenda Holbrook's disappearance sent shockwaves through the education community and the families of other unsolved cases. Investigators began reviewing missing person reports from areas where Hoffman had worked, looking for potential connections to other crimes. The Arizona Department of Education launched an internal review of background check procedures and employment screening protocols that had been in place during Hoffman's career. According to authorities, Hoffman initially denied any involvement in Brenda's disappearance when questioned by investigators. However, faced with the mounting physical evidence and witness testimony, legal proceedings moved forward as prosecutors prepared to present their case to a grand jury. The arrest of Gregory Hoffman in April 2021 reverberated through Phoenix's educational community like an earthquake, shaking the foundation of trust that parents and colleagues had placed in the longtime substitute teacher. News of the charges spread rapidly through social media and local news outlets, leaving former students, colleagues, and administrators grappling with the disturbing revelation that someone they had known and worked alongside for decades was allegedly responsible for Brenda Holbrook's disappearance. Desert Vista Elementary School, where both Brenda and Hoffman had worked, became the focal point of intense media attention and community concern. Current principal Maria Santos issued a carefully worded statement acknowledging the school's cooperation with the ongoing investigation while emphasizing the district's commitment to student safety. The statement noted that Hoffman had not worked at Desert Vista since the mid-1990s, and that current background check procedures were far more comprehensive than those in place during his tenure. Former colleagues who had worked with Hoffman expressed shock and disbelief at the allegations. Many remembered him as a quiet, competent educator who seemed dedicated to his students. However, as news of the arrest spread, some teachers began to reconsider interactions they had previously dismissed as merely awkward or inappropriate. Several female educators came forward to report that Hoffman had made them uncomfortable with overly personal questions or unwanted attention, but they had attributed his behavior to social awkwardness rather than predatory intent. The revelation prompted a wave of introspection within the broader educational community about warning signs that might have been overlooked or dismissed. Professional development sessions on recognizing inappropriate behavior and reporting procedures saw increased attendance as educators sought to better protect themselves and their students. The Arizona Education Association organized workshops specifically addressing workplace safety and the importance of trusting instincts when colleagues' behavior seemed concerning. Parents whose children had been taught by Hoffman during his substitute assignments experienced a range of emotions, from anger to fear to guilt. Many questioned whether they had adequately protected their children and worried about potential incidents they might not have known about. School counselors reported an increase in requests for meetings as parents sought guidance on how to discuss the situation with their children and what signs of trauma or inappropriate contact to watch for. The Holbrook family's response to the arrest was measured but emotional. Robert Holbrook, now 78 years old, had spent nearly 3 decades seeking answers about his daughter's fate. In a statement released through the family's attorney, he expressed gratitude to the investigators who had never given up on the case, while acknowledging that no arrest could bring Brenda back or erase the years of uncertainty and pain the family had endured. Carol Holbrook, who had passed away in 2018 without seeing resolution in her daughter's case, had maintained until her death that someone in the community knew what had happened to Brenda. The family established a memorial scholarship in Carol's name, honoring her dedication to finding the truth and supporting other families dealing with missing loved ones. The arrest also sparked broader conversations about the effectiveness of background check systems and employment screening procedures in education. Advocacy groups for missing persons and victims' rights pointed to Hoffman's case as an example of how individuals with concerning histories could slip through institutional safeguards. The fact that his previous arrests and employment issues had not been discovered during the original investigation highlighted gaps in information sharing between agencies and jurisdictions. Local media coverage of the case intensified as reporters investigated Hoffman's employment history across multiple school districts. Several news organizations filed public records requests seeking information about complaints or disciplinary actions involving Hoffman throughout his career. The coverage revealed a pattern of brief tenures at various schools, raising questions about whether administrators had quietly moved problem employees rather than addressing concerning behavior directly. Social media platforms became forums for former students and colleagues to share their memories and experiences with Hoffman. While many reported no negative interactions, others described feeling uncomfortable around him or witnessing behavior that seemed inappropriate in hindsight. These online discussions provided valuable information to investigators while also serving as a form of community processing of the shocking revelations. The case prompted legislative discussions about strengthening background check requirements and improving information sharing between school districts. Lawmakers proposed measures that would require more comprehensive screening of substitute teachers and create databases to track educators who had been dismissed or resigned under questionable circumstances. Mental health professionals in the Phoenix area reported increased demand for counseling services as community members struggled to process the implications of Hoffman's alleged crimes. The betrayal of trust represented by the charges was particularly difficult for those who had worked closely with him or entrusted their children to his care. The legal proceedings against Gregory Hoffman concluded in November 2022 when he entered a plea agreement with the Maricopa County Attorney's Office. According to court documents, Hoffman pleaded guilty to charges related to Brenda Holbrook's death in exchange for a life sentence without the possibility of parole. The plea agreement spared the Holbrook family the trauma of a lengthy trial, while ensuring that Hoffman would never again pose a threat to the community. During the sentencing hearing, prosecutors presented evidence that painted a disturbing picture of Hoffman's alleged actions on August 29, 1993. According to the prosecution's account, Hoffman had encountered Brenda in the grocery store parking lot and used his position as a trusted educator to gain her confidence before allegedly abducting her. The details of what followed remained sealed as part of the plea agreement, but authorities indicated that Brenda's remains had been located in a remote desert area based on information provided by Hoffman. The resolution of Brenda's case represented a significant victory for cold case investigators and demonstrated the transformative power of advancing forensic technology. Detective Chen, who had spearheaded the renewed investigation, noted that the case highlighted the importance of preserving evidence even when initial analysis proved inconclusive. The fingerprints that had been deemed unusable in 1993 ultimately provided the key to solving the case nearly 3 decades later. The Phoenix Police Department used the Holbrook case as a training example for other cold case investigations, emphasizing the value of systematic evidence review and the potential for technological advances to breathe new life into stalled cases. The department allocated additional resources to cold case work and implemented new protocols for evidence preservation and periodic review of unsolved crimes. Educational institutions across Arizona implemented sweeping changes to their hiring and screening procedures in response to the revelations about Hoffman's background. The Arizona Department of Education mandated more comprehensive background checks for all educational personnel, including substitute teachers and support staff. New requirements included fingerprint-based criminal history checks, reference verification, and mandatory reporting of any disciplinary actions or concerning behavior. The case also prompted changes in how school districts handle employee transitions and information sharing. A new statewide database was created to track educators who had been dismissed or resigned under questionable circumstances, preventing individuals from simply moving to new districts to escape scrutiny. Professional development programs were expanded to include training on recognizing and reporting inappropriate behavior among colleagues. Brenda Holbrook's legacy extended far beyond the resolution of her case. The scholarship fund established in her memory had provided educational opportunities for dozens of aspiring teachers who shared her passion for working with young children. Desert Vista Elementary School dedicated a memorial garden in her honor, creating a peaceful space where students and staff could reflect on the importance of safety, kindness, and community vigilance. The Holbrook family's decades-long quest for answers inspired other families dealing with missing loved ones. Robert Holbrook became an advocate for cold case awareness and victim rights, working with law enforcement agencies to improve communication with families and ensure that cases remained active even when leads grew cold. His persistence and dignity throughout the ordeal served as an example of how families could honor their loved ones while seeking justice. The case highlighted broader societal issues about trust, institutional responsibility, and the protection of vulnerable individuals. The fact that Hoffman had been able to work in schools for decades, despite concerning behavior patterns, raised questions about the effectiveness of existing safeguards and the importance of creating environments where people felt comfortable reporting suspicious activity. Forensic science professionals pointed to the Holbrook case as an example of why evidence preservation and periodic review were crucial components of effective law enforcement. The techniques that solved the case in 2021 had not existed in 1993, underscoring the importance of maintaining hope that advancing technology might eventually provide answers to seemingly unsolvable crimes. The resolution also provided closure for the broader Phoenix community, which had lived with the uncertainty of Brenda's fate for nearly 3 decades. The knowledge that her alleged killer had been identified and held accountable offered some measure of peace, though it could never fully heal the wounds left by her loss. As the legal proceedings concluded and media attention gradually shifted to other stories, Brenda Holbrook's case remained a powerful reminder of the importance of persistence in seeking justice. The 28-year journey from crime to resolution demonstrated that time alone does not diminish the obligation to pursue truth and accountability, even when the path forward seems impossible to navigate. The case stands as a testament to the dedication of investigators who refuse to abandon hope and the transformative potential of scientific advancement in service of justice.